Just while we're on the embryo transfer, Graham, there's an opportunity for people to buy some stud ewes, and if they wanted to build their stud up or their nucleus, their flock up very quickly, they could then flush some of these young ewes to get the best genetics.
Yes, there's quite a number of people that have come into it recently that are doing flushing programs. It's probably a little bit difficult at the moment to get the foal trope, and it's in short supply, but there is the opportunity to do programs out there if you've got the right team involved. They do have, some of them do have foal trope to do the programs.
Right, on that though, people could certainly secure some young ewes here to start their program, even if that was to be done in 3 or 4 months' time, or they could have the first natural joining and then use the ewes after that for the ET program.
It's not a bad idea to get one lamb out of your ewes before you do an ET program. You'll get more embryos on that once they've had the one lamb, but it's still fine. The whole breed's actually been developed on flushing ewes at that 9-10 months of age before they've had a lamb. So to get the progress there, that's what we've done all the way. So the programs we're running are on the same age ewes.
So Graham, with the ET program, just for people that aren't familiar or have nothing to do with it, you could buy some ewes here and then use some first cross ewes or Asdona ewes to put the embryos in, and that way then you can get a number of embryos from the one young ewe, which in the case of that doesn't affect the ewe. It's not detrimental to the ewe to give her a flush or two and use it to build your numbers up. You just need to have some recip mothers to put the embryos in to rear those lambs.
Yeah, it could be anything. People are using merinos. We actually use Australian white ewes as recips because they're such good mothers and milk so well. No maintenance on them, but you can use a merino ewe, a first cross ewe, composite ewe. So and ideally, if you haven't done any ET work before, it's probably not a bad idea to go to a centre that can run the whole thing for you. So they program the ewes, and that would be my advice for anyone doing small numbers. Just go to a ET centre and get them to do the lot.
And the other one on top of that too is, like you just said, is that it's probably a good idea for people to start off small and stick their toe in the water and see how it works for them, and then if they want to step it up to grow it bigger, they certainly can, rather than taking on a major program that they've had no experience in. It's different for you people that have had a lot of experience in it. You know what you're doing, and so there's certainly some other people, but there is some people out there that have never had anything to do with it before. That our suggestion would be that they start off small and stick their toe in the water and give it a go.
Yes, definitely. It's this Australian white breed is quite unique in the fact that we're basically developed off embryo transfer, where we'd flush 30 or 40 ewes in the early days to produce 500 or 600 ewe lambs, and then pick 50 lambs out of those that were the best, and then we flush them, and then do that again and again and again. And that's why the breeds progress so quickly, is through the embryo transfer. So I'm not aware of any other breed that's been developed off embryo transfer work. So we're very much into any technology that can advance the breed. No matter what that technology is, we use it. And the embryo transfer has certainly been the most important one to us, to hone a breed and get it so that it has breed type. And that's the one thing that we're seeing everywhere, and people commenting on when you use an Australian white, even on the F1, they look more Australian white than the breed you put them with, and that's due to the fact we've got a breed type.
And that's certainly the number one thing with it, is that you've been able to breed trueness of type and sheep that throw to what the sire looks like or the ewe looks like, simply because of the tightness of the program.
Oh, there's some out there that criticise us on breeding tight and line breeding, but we've done it deliberately. There's not really any breed in the world that's been developed that's been successful that hasn't been line bred. So we're line breeders. We don't make any apologies for it. Everybody's entitled to an opinion, but some of the people that have got strong opinions against the way that we've bred this, they haven't done anything. I'll just stand on what we've done. We've done it deliberately. Things like out of season breeding, high lambing percentages, the black feet through virtually everything in the Tatty Hill stud now. The hair shedding pattern where they're solid hair backs, where they totally shed. We don't need scoring on shedding because talking to one of our good clients, Dan Lustenberg, and I just asked him how he would go about scoring his Tatty Hill blood stud ewes, and he said, well, they'd all be scored once because they're all bare. I wouldn't know how to score them as anything else. So we don't need numbers to be scoring different things, we just need results. And the results this breed is built around is dollar returns. So if you're getting the dollars back for your surplus ewes, you're getting the dollars for your weather lambs through the abattoir or the yards, that's what it's all about, is dollar returns. So
the Tatty Hill stud has done, like Graham, just tell us how many, roughly how many ET programs, and not so much programs, but roughly how many embryos that you've done over the time.
We're guessing at about 25,000 plus on the farm. That's embryos transferred. That's not lambs on the ground. So you're normally getting about 73% stick rate on that. That we'd done a lot of embryo transfer work before the thought of the Australian White, so we were experienced in it. We brought teams from all over the world, England, New Zealand, Western Australia, other part of the world now. So we bring people from wherever we need, and we've become very proficient at it. And it is a specialist field. My late brother Martin, until his untimely passing, had programmed every sheep in the Australian White embryo programs. He'd done the needling on every one, never missed it. Was there for all the lambing. So it's just something that we were very sure that, and we'd seen it through our Poll Dorsets, that a little bit of embryo work on your very top end just lifts your bottom end, and that's what it's about. We don't want a tail in the Australian Whites, and that's the reason for the ET work. It's just to hone it to where we want it to be and not have that tail in them. So what's happening now is the very best of the sheep are not changing dramatically because you can only get them so good, but what we're seeing is the bottom end of the sheep are getting better and better. And particularly in this sale, I did have a look at, after the video work was done, and I looked at some of the rams right at the end of the sale. And if you look at the video, they look just like the stud rams at the beginning of the sale. So that to me is the pleasing aspect. You want consistency in your product. If it doesn't look the same, it certainly won't kill the same and hang up the same, and it definitely won't eat the same. So the idea of the line breeding is to get the consistency in it, so that you don't have a few lambs that are right, you have the whole moult.
Yeah, and so Graham, in that is where, and people are going to see when they come to the sale next Wednesday, that how even the whole sale catalogue is, in that from the first sheep to the last sheep, they're outstanding all the way, and I'm happy to back that up, as I've seen the sheep and I've seen what they've done, and we've been involved in these sales from day one, and certainly the improvement in not only the whole genetics, but the improvement in the lineup of sheep from in the early days. We were trying to build some numbers, and the tail end of the sale wasn't anywhere near as good as the ones in the top end, whereas now they're just like peas in a pod, and they present very well, and that's what it is.